Okay, now in this video we're going to cover some of the callout functions, how to create callouts for your video in the editing process. Now, as in one of the prior videos, we've created a couple of title clips for the beginning and the end. I guess technically it would be called a title clip and a credits clip, but it's my video, so I'm calling it two title clips. And then we've also, in this particular video, added some zoom and pan functions. Let me scroll this guy up here, left mouse and drag it up. You can see more of what's going on here in the timeline. Here's the video, the audio, and the zoom and pan markers. Now, and as we create these callouts, there'll be an additional box down here that will be for callouts. So now the audio, you can actually do some enhancements. You can delete the entire thing and put in your own voice or additional audio soundtracks in here, and we'll cover that later on under the voice narration function. But for the time being, let's get this guy back down to a manageable size, and let's head on over to the callout section. Take a look at this. Oh, and one thing too I want to point out is that currently I am in a Camproj or a Camtasia Studio project, so any of the additions that I make here or changes or deletions will not take effect unless I hit this save button up here. So I can really screw this one up really good and still not make any effect on it, because until I hit this save button, we're good to go. I can always just reopen this Camproj with all this as is. Hopefully that makes sense. So anyway, back to the callouts. Click on that. And again, we've got these two buttons up here that we can go to show me for additional assistance via videos, or assist me where it kind of walks us through. So let's go to add callout. And you can see here we have, well, down here a little tip pops up where we can click on this and it will give us some additional information. And I'll try to do my best to go through some of these here. Now, this gives you a little preview box of what we're working on over here. So you've got several callout types we can choose from. Hit this drop down arrow. You can see the different types we have here. Now, there's a couple of them in here that are not technically callouts but come in handy. The blurred callout and the transparent hotspot. The blurred callout comes in handy, click on this, whenever you're dealing with sensitive information, like say for example you're showing somebody how to add a password, or you're showing something on your training video that requires a password or sensitive information to be shown on the screen. You can put this call out over it and it can blur it out, as you can see here in the preview screen. And you can adjust the intensity level of this blur by going back over here, scroll down, and the blur intensity scroller, you can see where it's just like, well, not even there. So if you want to show somebody the fact that there's something in here but you can't really, determine exactly what it is, then just play with this until you're happy with the result. And you can have here these functions where it's fade in or fade out as well. And this holds true with all the callouts that we're going to be dealing with here. So let's get rid of this guy and go to, say, the indented arrow. So it gives you here, below the callout type drop-down box, the different options you have to choose from with this type of callout. And as you click on these, they will show you over in the preview box what they're looking like. And dropping down to the next level here, the fill-in color, this covers what's inside, what color this is. Currently it's white, as you can see here, but we can choose this color or any color, hit OK, and it changes it. And going down here, showing this again, you can fade this call out in or out. You can choose the opacity to where it almost is invisible, just depending upon how you want it to appear on your particular video. Now, as far as the, and the border color, right now there's a bit of a border around there, and there's also a drop shadow. Kind of check this out. I'll take out the drop shadow, and you see it's more of just a plain Jane looking thing. Hit this and it kind of stands out more, so I kind of like the drop shadow myself. Now, getting back up here to the text, you can just type in whatever you like, and this is the color of the text, the size of the text, and the font style. Of course, you can always change this, very functional, and you can change this. Of course, if you're changing the color, you might want to highlight what you want to change too. And as you can see over here in the preview box what it is changed to. Now then, if you want, you can also manipulate this information a little bit more by hitting your arrow key. You can, over here, you can drag the size of this, which changes the size of the entry or your text here. So here, you can see how it changes over here as well. So you can see the different functions you have here. Another thing I wanted to point out, and of course you can always drag this wherever you want on your video. One thing else I wanted to point out is the custom callouts. You can actually create your own. Click on this and you can create your own custom callout by going to, say, a certain image that you have. Let me see if I can find one here fairly quick. What do we got down here? Download button. What does this look like? Okay, that's what it looks like. Let's go with that. Hit OK. And now then, if you hit this drop down button, it's going to be the very last one. Of course, it needs some adjustments there, but basically any image that you have on your hard drive, you can bring that in as a custom callout. Let's pull this up and see. Drag this down here, and you can make it big. So if you've got a picture of your pet dog or whatever, whatever image you have, you can bring that in as a custom callout. And again, you can make any adjustments down here into the properties box as well. So that's a quick introduction to the callouts function. Oh yeah, and one other thing too I wanted to point out, and that would be the flash hotspot. I didn't mention this, and I won't mention this in great detail. This is probably good for a different video altogether, but this makes your video a little more interactive, whereas it would, and it's only good for flash output too. So if you're making an AVI, won't work. EXE won't work. This only works for the flash output. So if you were to check that box, click on this. It gives you certain functions here that you can work with, where if they in fact clicked this, if this were a hotspot, then something would take place. So it's not just a matter of a video any longer. It's a video that will be interactive with the viewer. It will pause at a certain point, and before the video will continue, the viewer has to do something like click this button. And it's pretty cool too, because if they click that button, as you saw on the prior screen, it also allows you to provide a URL where if once clicked, that button will send them somewhere else besides that video. So that's a nice little function that might come in handy. Use your imagination and work with it. But this brings us to the end of this video on how to work with callouts. Let me show you this real quick too. Once we get done with our little callout here, once I click finished, it puts the callout right down here. And of course, I'm not going to use this callout, but just for the sake of the video, you can also make the callout hang around a little bit longer too. Right here you can see the duration is 24 seconds. If you just get the double arrow there and drag back, you can see now it's down to 10 seconds. So that's another function for your callouts. If you want to enhance or bring to someone's attention this callout, say it's an arrow pointing to something and you want it to hang around for a little bit longer, this is how you can do that right there. Or you can right click and you can do your modify here. You can copy this particular, if it's a good arrow that you want, and you can place it anywhere else on here. A lot of different functions you can work with right here. Or if you don't like it at all, you can always just delete it from the timeline here. Such is the case here. Are you sure? Yes? Get away. And that brings us to the end of this video on the introduction to the callouts. And thank you very much, and I'll try to throw in some more videos on some of these other functions here as well. Thanks again for watching, folks.